All right, it's your boy, Mr. Shaggy, coming at you with this math study guide for our summative test on Tuesday, December 18th. All right, so number one, it says express the ratio of shaded squares to the number of not shaded squares in simplest form. So I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 shaded squares to the number of not shaded squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 10 to 6. You can reduce that by 2. That is 5 over 3. It says write the ratio in simplest form. 2 meters to 76 centimeters. I need to convert meters to centimeters. To do that, I need to multiply meters by 2 meters by 100 because there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So this gives me 200. And then this is 76. I only changed 1. So now I'm going to write this as 200 over 76. Both of those numbers are divisible by 2. So this gives me 100 over half of 76, 3, 38. Still can simplify that again. That's 50. 1 over 19, and that should be simplest form right there. 50 over 19. Rate each rate as a unit rate. So 5 bananas for $1.95. I want to know how much 1 banana costs. I would take $1.95 divided by 5. When I have this, I'm going to shoot the decimal up just like a rocket. 5 can't go into 1. 5 can't go into 19. 3 times. That's 15. Left with 4, bring down the 5. 5 goes into 45 9 times, so it's 39 cents per banana. All right, the next problem says determine whether the quantities in each table represent a proportional relationship. If yes, give the constant rate. So I need to find out what the relationship is between these numbers. So 5 times some number can give me 0.20. I'm going to find out what that is by dividing. Should be 0.04. 0.04. So then I'm going to multiply that 18 by 0.04. That is 32. 7. I moved it twice, so that is still 0.04. 32 times 0.04. That's 8. 12. Move it twice. It's $1.28. And then 45 times 0.04. 20. 18. Move it twice. So all those are multiplied, yes. So it is proportional. It's proportional because we found the rate. To find the rate, I take the fee divided by the number of minutes to find out how much is in 1, right? And then I apply that rate to each number to see if it gives me the answer over here. So the rate in this is 4 hundredths, right? Some people would say 0.04, but it should be 4 hundredths. And so we're just finding the relationship between the numbers. If all of them are the same, then we know it's proportional. Determine whether the pair of ratios forms a proportion. So this problem I'm going to cross multiply. 7 times 8 is 56. I'm going to write 56 underneath of 7 over 1 and 6 tenths. I'm going to take 35 times 1 first, which gives me 35. And then I'm going to take 35 times 6 tenths. And I'm going to add those answers together because I'm using the distributive property. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18. 19, 20, 21. And I need to move the decimal 1 time. So that is 6. So I get 56 and 56, which means they are proportional, yes. If they come out with the same answer after you cross multiply both numbers, then it is proportional. If not, if both of the numbers are not the same, then it's not proportional. Solve each proportion, check your solutions. So I'm going to do the distributive property again. 1 times 11 equals 11. And then 0.2 times 11. Well, I know 2 times 11 is 22, so that should give me the same thing. And then because there's one number at the decimal point here, I'm going to move it one time. So 11 plus 2 is 13. And then that decimal rate, because there's nothing there. And then 4m. So I have 4m equals 13.2. When I get here, I'm going to divide by 4. So 13 and 2/10 divided by 4. Decimal shoots up straight like a rocket. 4 goes into 13 3 times. That gives me 12. I'm left with 1. Bring down the 2. 4 goes into 12 3 times. So my answer, x equals 3 3/10. Okay. At the top it says an online store receives 15 orders per day. At this rate, how many orders can they expect in the month of September? So I get 15 orders for one day, right? I need to know how many days are in September. Well, September has 30 days. So I'm going to be multiplying that by 30. So that I'm going to need to multiply the top number by 30. So 15 times 30. 0 and 5 make 0, 0. Add a placeholder. 15, 3, 4. $450 online orders in 30 days. That's 450 is my answer. So 450 online orders. This says the scale model of a new building was created for approval by the city. The scale of the model is 3 inches equals 20 feet. So this has, if the model is 5 feet tall, this is 5 inches. Right, I know it's an error on my part, so because it should match up with the model. Model is 3 inches over 20 feet, so we're going to write 3 over 20 inches, right? Feet. And I'm going to write 5 inches, and I'm trying to find out the actual height. So remember, we're going to use a proportion. 3x equals 5 times 20, which is 100, divided by 3. So I have 100 divided by 3. 3 goes into 10 3 times. That's 9. Bring down that. 33, 9. And then I'm going to see that this is going to continue. So it's x equals 33 3/10 with the line at the top. Find the scale for each drawing model. For this one, I'm going to write 7 inches over 42. And for this problem, I want the top number to be a 1. So I need to divide by 7 to both numbers. I'm going to divide by 7 up here and divide by 7 up here, because what I do to the top, I also do to the bottom. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 42 divided by 7 is 6. So it's 1 inch to 6 feet. That is our scale. If the figure below are similar, give the scale factor of figure B to figure A. So remember, we're going from B to A, right? This is the direction that we're going. So I'm going to match up sides. So this one has 3 in the bottom, that has 3 in the bottom, 1. So 5 and 15 go together. 5 times what gives me 15? 3. Let's see, let's check that. So this side matches up with this side, right? Because the symbols are the same, so that's times 3. And this times 3 as well. So scale factor is 3. Find each measure given the similar figures. So I want to find x. The side that corresponds with x is 10, so I'm going to do 10 over x. And I can pick a side. So I'm going to pick 9 over 15. 10 times 15 is 150. X times 9 is 9x. Then I'm going to divide by 9 on both sides because I'm trying to isolate x and get it by itself. So 150 divided by 9. 9 goes into 150 one time. That, when I subtract 9, I get 6. Bring down the 0. 9 into 60 is 6 times. 9 times 6 is 54. And I'm left with 6 again. So this looks like it's going to repeat. So It's going to be x is going to equal 16.6. All right. Next problem says that the table shows the number of people waiting in line for different rides at an amusement park. What is the ratio of people waiting in line for the roundup to the people waiting in line for the slingshot? Ratio of people waiting in line for the roundup. So roundup is 11. 11 over waiting in line 4. Slingshot, 11 over 4. So I'm going to label this round up and then slingshot. And that's as simple as we have to do that. The following diagram shows the number of days Zane bikes to school and the number of days Zane walks to school. So Zane bikes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to label that as 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. What's the ratio of days Zane bikes to days he walks? Okay, well, it's 8 to 6. I need to simplify that. So I'm going to divide by 2, 4 over 3. A pink crayon is made with 12 milliliters of red wax for every 5 milliliters of white wax. So my ratio is 12 white, or 12 red, my bad, 12 red for every 5 white. What is an equivalent ratio that will produce the same pink crayon? So an equivalent ratio would be anything when you pick a number and multiply both of them by the same number, multiply them by 2. This gives me 24 over 10. That is an equivalent ratio. What are 3 ratios that are equivalent to 16 over 12? So I'm going to write 16 over 12, and I want 3 equivalent ratios to this. First, I can simplify, right? That would give me a ratio. So if I divide both of these numbers by 2, this gives me 8 over 6, right? That is 1 equivalent ratio. I can still simplify this. I'm going to divide by 2 again. This gives me 4 over 3. That is 2 equivalent ratios. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to times this by, let's see, times it by 3. That's going to give me 12 over 9, which is my 3rd equivalent ratio. Right, so there are 3 equivalent ratios. It says the double number line shows that to make 4 apple pies, it requires 14 pounds of apples. Complete the double number line that correctly labels the number of pounds of apples that are needed to make 1, 2, and 3 pies. So right now they tell you that this is the relationship, right? At the top we know that we're counting by ones. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know off the top of my head what we're counting by, but in order to find that I can take 14 divided by 4. So that's what I'm going to do, 14 divided by 4. 4 goes into this 3 times. You're left with 2. Right, then I'm going to put a decimal point and add a 0. 4 into 20 is 5 times. So we're counting by 3.5 here. So to make 1 apple pie, you need 3.5 pounds of apples. To make 2 apple pies, you need to do 3.5 times 2, which gives me 5 times 2 is 10, plus this 6, 7 is 7 pounds. Times 3 is going to be 3.5 times 3, 15, 9, 10 and a half. So that's how you label that, right? It's not that hard to find out what they're counting by on the top, and then to find this out, you just divide, and then that's your first one, and then you double it, and then you triple it. This says the double number line shows that in 2 minutes, Pogo's dog can catch 6 Frisbees. So in 2 minutes, Pogo's dog can catch 6 Frisbees. So in 1 minute, right, and this is 3 minutes, and this is 4 minutes, down here, right? So if he can catch 2 Frisbees in 6 minutes, how much can he catch in 1? Well, we take 6 divided by 2. That gives me 3. So I know that in 1 minute he can catch 3 Frisbees, which means that in 3 minutes he can catch 9, and in 4 minutes he can catch 12. So it says based on the ratio shown in the double number line, how many times will Pogo fetch the Frisbee in 4 minutes? 12 times. Right? And that's all we have to do for double number lines. It says Ruben bought 6 comic books for $21. What is the cost for 1 comic book? Remember, cost divided by quantity. How much for one comic book. So 6 goes into 21 3 times. You're left with 3. Add a placeholder, or add a 0, and then add a decimal point. 6 into 30 is 5 times, so it's $3.50 for one comic book. Okay, it says Burger Barn makes dipping sauce by mixing 2 spoonfuls of honey. So I'm going to write 2 honey with half a spoonful of mustard. So half mustard. Sandwich Tom makes dipping sauce by mixing 4 spoonfuls of honey with 1 spoonful of mustard. Right? Which dipping sauce has a stronger mustard flavor? I'm going to set up 2 ratios, right? First 2 honey over half, and then 4 over 1, right? So we can look at this a couple of ways. So I could say 2 divided by half, right? So 2 divided by half, how many halves are in 2, right? I could divide that. That would be 4. And then I would say 4 divided by 4 is 1. That's one way of doing it. 4 divided by 1 is 4, my bad. So they both give us that, or this is as simple as you have to do it. So 2 times 1 is 2, right? Cross products again. And then half of 4 is 2. So they're equivalent. Neither. They have the same flavor. Because they are equivalent ratios. All right. Well, look, here we're at the end. It says, 18 says, for every touchdown scored by the Timberwolves, the mascot does 3 backflips, and the cheerleader set off 6 confetti cannons. All right, CC for confetti cannons. How many touchdowns did the Timberwolves score if the cheerleaders set off 18 confetti cannons? Right? Right, so I know that this is times 3, so this is times 3, right? So this is going to be 9 backflips. It says for every touchdown scored by the Timberwolves, for every touchdown scored. So the rate that we found between those is 3. So they scored 3 touchdowns. Another way that you could have done that is you could have just said 1 touchdown is equivalent to 6 confetti shots, right? And then times 3 if they did 18. Olivia needs 54 licks for every 3 lollipops she eats. Complete the table using equivalent ratios. Okay, so I want to know if it takes her 54 licks to eat for every 3 lollipops she eats. How much does it take to eat 1? 3 goes into 5 1 time. 24. 3 goes into 24 8 times. So it takes her 18 licks for 1 lollipop. So now I have 18 licks for 1 lollipop. And then this says 36 licks. So what is happening between 18 and this? It's times 2. So that would be 2 lollipops. 5 lollipops would be 18 times 5, which is 90. So in order to find that, I wanted to find out how many licks it would take her to eat 1 lollipop. So I did 54 divided by 3. At the market, 5 light bulbs cost $9. How much do 7 light bulbs cost? So in this problem, I'm going to do cost divided by how many? 5, right? 5 goes into 9 1 time. You're left with 4. Decimal point, add a 0. So 1 light bulb costs $1.80, and then I want to find out how much 7 costs. So times 7, 0, 56, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. $12.60. Right? Of the squirrels' hidden nuts, for every 5 that get found, there are 3 that do not get found. So 5 found, 3 that are not found. A squirrel hid 40 nuts altogether. How many nuts did not get found? So the total amount has to be 40 here. So in order to do this, we have to add up these numbers until they equal 40 to see what the relationship is. Right now it's 8, that's not 40. I'm going to do times 2, this is going to give me 10 found, that means 6 not found. Right now 10 plus 6 is 16, then I'm going to count. This is kind of like a double number line, but I'm just counting with fractions. So 15 found to 9 not found. 15 and 9, that makes 24, so that's not 40. And then 20 found to 12 not found. Right there, that is 32, so still not there yet. And 24 found to 15 not found. Oh wait, 25 found. I bet I didn't count correctly there. So 15 not found. And if I add these two numbers together, 25 and 15, that should give me 40. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. And then 25 plus 15 should give me 40. That's how I solved the problem. So how many nuts did not get found? 15 did not get found. Another way of looking at this problem, because some people look at it differently, is that you could say, okay, how many times can 5 go into 40? Right? You could look at that way, but that's 8, so it's not going to give you what you want. You could look at it, how many times, if I add this together, 8 into 40 is 5 times. So that's a better way. So what you would do, the easier way, is to take these two numbers and add them together and say, okay, how many times can 8 go into 40? That's 5 times. And if you multiply this by 5, it gives you the 25 at the end. And if you multiply this by 5, it gives you the 15 at the end. That is another way of doing it. The last question says, Luna and Ginny each casts magic spells. The ratio of spells Luna casts two spells Ginny casts is represented in the tape diagram. Based on the ratio, what is the number of spells Ginny casts when Luna casts 20 spells? So right now, Luna is casting 4 spells for Ginny's 5 spells, right? So if Ginny casts 20 spells, what is the relationship between 5 and 20? Well, that is 4, right? So, well, hold on. That's the wrong person. Ooh. So where's the relationship between Luna, that's what Luna cast. So to make 20, right, I multiply that by 5. So this is going to be 5 times 5. So that means that Ginny is going to cast 25 spells. So my bad on that. So I didn't pair up with the right people. So based on the ratio, what is the number of spells Ginny casts when Luna casts 20 spells? So Luna casts 4. And then we know that we're trying to get to 20. So what number times 4 will give me 25? And I have to apply that to Ginny as well, because what I do at the top, I also have to do at the bottom. All right, friends, that's all for now.